probably need a nanny. Maybe you need two nannies, maybe three. I have a sister, I think, has two nannies at any given time. So you have two nannies, and then you have maybe a staff of 2 or 3 people that are making appointments. I mean, how many things could you do in 24 hours? I guess what I'm trying to say is, are you a mom, or are you the president's assistant? Even constitutionally, the vice president of the United States does nothing. I mean, in the Constitution, the vice president. And what are the titles of these people?
Oh, it's like they just make these things up. I mean, there's this one.
Oh, you have it here. Oh.
I do. A special assistant for scheduling and traveling aid to the First Lady at $50,000 a year. Yeah, I would love to. I don't know if you could.
Now, the First Lady's first flew to Afghanistan for 6 hours. It was a $12 million trip. And he went there for 6 hours, and about 3 or 4 weeks ago, he canceled the trip to Indonesia so he could sit there and address Congress with this health care bill. And I just thought, $12 million for a 6-hour trip, can't we do like a video cam? Or...
Maybe there's a good movie on Air Force One.
Yeah, it's just maybe the Air Force One movie's on Air Force One, I don't know. So I always think there's interest, but going back to the teachers thing, we talked a little bit about this last week. One of the things that I don't understand, and one of my favorite politicians is a guy named Steve Rauschenberger. And
what does he do?
He was a former state senator, and he ran for lieutenant general. Why don't we build a new system? And nobody really wants to do that because you've got unions, you've got this, you've got all these different things that are involved in it. But going back to the teachers, and I know I brought up Steve, Steve always talks about the teacher's pension. Not that you would cut the pension, but if you would restructure the pensions, and I'm not an expert at exactly what he was talking about, there's more than enough money. It sure seems to me that there's more than enough money with all the things that they want to do. And I think I'm glad you brought up this thing about the First Lady's office, budget office, because that was something that Clinton said last night. He said every dollar should be accounted for. Every dollar should be accounted for. I mean, who oversees something like that? Does the president just...
About the White House and about this and about a lot of what government's doing just in general, they're saying this is what we need to provide, and they provide it, and then they figure out where the money's coming from later, or they run it at a deficit. You know, I have a business that, you know what, if I had the deficits that that the government has, when I would go to get bonded and insured, you know, we want to build a brand new $40 million firehouse, and they just built it, and then they went to look for the money later. You know, it's sort of like putting the cart before the horse, and I think that's the principles that people have to run their household on, and people have to run their businesses on. Maybe those are the principles we should be applying to government. And I know last week I irritated, or may have irritated, some teachers by saying, hey, I think they're overpaid, I think they get too much. And it wasn't that I don't think teachers do a wonderful job.
Yeah, why don't you explain that statement? Because after I talked to you after the show, you had I got a different message.
It's not just teachers. It's the government employees. It's you know what. Going to do this, or we're going to add value added, we're going to add this, we're going to add that, when realistically, if everyone would just be, supposedly everyone should be in it together to give a little bit back. You know, if the pensioners were willing to take, you know, 15% less, you know how much that would do for our state budgets?
It's a show currently with no name, and I think we left off with Tim asking, Tim, recap what you said so that I can respond.
Would you like me to call you Mr. Semi-Offensive or just Mr. Offensive?
Yes. By the way, on the break, Chuck said that I was, and he was trying to be polite. He goes, you know, sometimes you're semi-offensive. And I'm like, God, and I'm filtering right now, which that was really Chuck's way of saying that I'm.
I said I think he's offensive.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Do you find me offensive, Larry? You listen to the show.
You should spray some of that Playboy stuff on there.
That bad, huh? That bad. Hey, I did get... well, actually, Tim got it. I've got to read this, see if I can find it here real quick. Tim got, like, some fan mail, which was really neat because it was, like, also not just Tim's fan mail, but I Hate Paul mail, which I thought was really cool. I don't know if we're allowed to say her name, but we'll just give her first name. Jan says, hi, Tim.
Facebook.
Yeah, through Facebook. Paul needs to shut the...
Yep, don't
you can figure out that it rhymes with duck, up. You have so much to give as far as the people need to know, but he won't shut the rhymes with duck up, and then like 10 exclamation points. I love you, always will, blah, blah, blah. And I was so happy because when we first started this, I told Tim, I said, I want to get people engaged, even if it's that they hate what I have to say. So I was really glad. So, Jan, thank you so much for the kind words. I found them to be lovely. And, Janet, we'd love for you to actually call in. And as long as you don't use those bad words, love for you to call in at 847-412-1430.
Actually, she's in Tampa, but so when we're going to go to Tampa.
Yeah.
We're supposed to go to Tampa.
Love Tampa.
Okay.
Love Tampa.
So we will do that.
Favorite
So
area.
let's get back on topic.
Okay. And the topic was?
Wasteful spending. Wasn't it?
Yeah. Well, I think you said why does in the
Why
in
are
the
why are we
public-
throwing teachers under the bus? Why are we cutting teachers?
Well, I think you said though that in the public sector, so many a comparable position in the public sector has greater benefits that are paid by the taxpayers than someone in the private sector who has to pay in for those for themselves. I think that's what you were saying, and I don't know the answer to that. I think it's something that needs to be addressed, but how are you ever going to address that? I mean, we have.
I like to hear what Larry has to say because Larry and I had an engaging conversation about it. So if he wouldn't mind, let's throw him out there and see.
Under the
'Cause-
bus again.
Change the oil.
Yeah. Well,
You should need my car washed.
obviously, there is a disparity, and we always kind of joke that the people that work in Catholic schools are not in it for the money, sadly, because it's not there. But they obviously, if that's where they choose to be, it's because of it goes beyond the money. But it would be nice if they were compensated. And I hate to draw a parallel between a professional athlete who gets paid multi-million-dollar contracts for playing, and it's not even a full-time job. And then you have these people that are molding the minds of the future of America, and I think that they are, in most cases, severely underpaid. I mean, fortunately, there's some school districts that do, can pay them a good living wage, and they're compensated for their talents. And the teachers, I mean, they are constantly having to do these professional developments. I mean, it's an ongoing thing. It's not like they got their job and they can just do it. I mean, they have to do their teaching, plus they have to continually keep going to school, and a lot of times it's on their own dime, to where the districts or the employers, they don't reimburse, but it's a mandate by the state that they have to have so many hours of professional development, and sadly, it never ends for them.
It's interesting because now I'm thinking about doctors and medical malpractice and the fact of all the overhead the teachers have. The overhead for the teachers in the private sector is the same overhead for the teachers in the public sector, as I guess what you just said. They still have the same requirements and the same things that they have to do. When you were talking, I went to a Catholic high school, and we went to the same Catholic high school, actually.
St. Pat's.
And I remember Mr. Preslak saying...
You're a St. Pat's grad?
I am.
All
What
three
year?
of us, sir.
1977.
Oh, you're really old. Okay.
Yeah, older. Not old. He's older.
Another drive-by.
I told you.
Paul.
I told you.
St. Pat's, go Shamrock.
And you wonder why women write in on the Facebook chastising Paul.
You know,
We should see if we could get her as a